For my first video on this channel, I'm excited to share a step-by-step tutorial of a puff sleeve front tie top, which is popularly known these days as the Ganni top. So let's get going. The fabric that I have finalized to use with for making this top is this cotton one. Let me get it closer. I hope you can see. It has these segments. The camera is focusing on my face right now. It's not focusing on the fabric, but this fabric is cotton and it has this self-sewn segment pattern on it, which I think would look cool. It's not super serious, but it is slightly festive, so I think it will look cool for this top. So let's make it and let's figure out if it actually looks cool after it's sewn. Now let's have a look at the measurements required to make this top. These measurements I have drafted are for myself and I wear the size small. So to begin with, we need to draw a rectangle. The width of the rectangle would be the width of our top, which for me is 24 centimeters. If you are size M or size L, then you would want to use 25 centimeters or 26 centimeters and so on. And by the way, 24 centimeters is because even though I'm size small, I want this top to be loose fitting and comfortable to fit. I don't want it fitted. That's why it's going to be a little loose for me, and that's okay. That is actually what I want. So the width would be 24 centimeters. The height I am going for is 35 centimeters. Which is the top half of the bodice. The top half of the bodice fits right between my bust line and my navel. And this bottom half would be the puffy frilly thing that would go underneath the top bodice of my top. So the total height of the top, the total length of the top is going to be around 60 centimeters. For the neckline, the width, I want it to be 9 centimeters, and the opening in the front, I want it to be 10.5 centimeters. This is the half of the bodice. This is one half of the front bodice. Now I have drafted 17 centimeters. This is the length of my shoulder. So beginning with starting from the middle point of the fabric to my shoulder, till the end of my shoulder, which is 17 centimeters, and the drop for the shoulder is 13, sorry, not 13, 3 centimeter from the top. Right here is 23 centimeter, which is the length of the armhole. From 23 centimeters, we have to draw a horizontal line. And draw a curve with 1.5 centimeter gap from that straight line. So basically we draw a straight line from where the armhole is, and we draw a perpendicular vertical line from the 17 centimeters. And then from this point we draw a curve with 1.5 centimeter gap from the shoulder line. Similarly, for the back bodice, we are going to follow the similar pattern. We are going to follow the similar pattern for the back bodice. The only difference that is going to be is that the neckline in the back, the drop will be only 3 centimeters instead of it being 10.5 centimeter, which is for the front. And for my armhole, the distance here from the shoulder edge is going to be just 0.5 centimeters. That's the only difference. The rest of the pattern is going to be the same. Based on these measurements, I will first draft and cut my pattern on this fabric before I go ahead and draft the sleeves, because I want to make sure that the bodice pattern is fitting the way I want it to fit. So I'm going to iron this fabric as nicely as I can. And then what I did was I did draft out my pattern on the paper, you can see right here. It doesn't matter which side the side seam is and which side the front seam is, because we are not folding the fabric. I'm going to make a cut here anyways. In case if we needed a fold here, then I would have had to place my fabric, my pattern like this, with the front fold facing the fold, matching the fold. But in this case it doesn't matter, so I'm just going to place my pattern this way here, making sure that I'm leaving ample space for the seams around it. This is my top half of the bodice and this is the bottom half. We will make two separate pieces for the bottom and the top. For the bottom, by the way, I will need a fold because I prefer not to have a join. So right now I'm just going to draw out the top half of the bodice. This is my front and I want to remember that, so I'm just going to put a small little F here, and then I am going to pin the front and the back together, so just as a precaution, so that when I'm cutting the fabric they don't move and I cut them both perfectly same. Here as well, at the bottom of the top bodice, we are going to leave a seam allowance because I want to attach the ruffle bottom to the top. So I'll cut right here. So now we have two pieces for the front. These are my two pieces for the front. They will be folded like this, where we will have the ties. Now let's cut the back pieces. Now for the back piece, we are going to need this fold on the back in the middle, the center line of the back bodice. We won't need any seam allowance. So here, this is my folded fabric. The wrong side facing up, right sides facing together, and on this fold we are going to align the bodice pattern. The middle edge of the pattern is aligned to the fold, and then I'm going to draw out my pattern on this. This is going to be my paperweight. Please ignore the patchwork that is happening here. I made a few mistakes. These two pieces together so they don't move when I'm cutting around it. So this is the back bodice, which is needed in one single piece. This is the back bodice. For our back bodice, we need two pieces, which are 70 centimeters in width and 25 centimeters in height. I have again folded the fabric, so I can just cut two pieces in one go, and I'm going to mark my rectangles here and just cut them and get them ready. When you are cutting the bottom panel, at the bottom, for the bottom hem, don't forget to leave a little bit more fabric so that we can fold it in and make a nice thick hem. So it should be around 2 to 3 centimeters from where we are going to fold our bottom fabric. It's not going to be 1 centimeter small like our seam allowance. So now we have the two front bottom pieces. These bottom pieces are going to be a gathering, so I'm going to gather them like this here, and they will form our bottom frill. Now we are going to start joining the pieces together, and I will first begin by joining my back piece to my front piece by laying them on top of each other, right sides together. And sew them along the shoulder and the side seams. Our top bodice piece are stitched together. Next, I want to attach the front ties, and we need fabric that is cut on bias, which will go around the neckline, and fabric that is cut on gain that will go in the front of our bodice. For my front ties, I've prepared 8 strips here, which are approximately 1 centimeter in width and 30 centimeter in length. This is the front bodice that I had stitched, and this is the front seam. To finish the front seam, we need to cut 2 strips of fabric. I'm just going to mark this here. And these 2 strips of fabric will be cut on the gain. So the fabric lines this time are parallel and perpendicular to our bodice. So I'm just going to make a marking here and here. And the width of the strip, I'll start with around 4 to 5 centimeters again. I might change it and trim it eventually, but I want to start with 5 centimeters. That's what we do. Okay. I need to get this ironed.
However, these are my two strips that I'll use to finish the front openings of the bodice. To start finishing our neckline, we have to connect the strip that we cut on the bias to the neckline, and we start by connecting the right sides together, the right side of the strip is like this. Actually, I have just changed my mind. I think I'm going to connect the wrong side. Just for this fabric, I'm going to connect the wrong side of my strip to the right side, because when I turn this over, I want these sequins to go inside, because otherwise they're going to rub against my skin. If they're facing my skin, then they'll rub against my skin and it might be irritating and scratchy. So just for this fabric, I will join the wrong side of the strip to the right side of my bodice. To mark the points for where I want to place my strips, what I'll do is, so this is my seam allowance of 1 centimeter from the bottom. This is my seam allowance of 1 centimeter from the top. I will join them together and make a marking at the half point, at the midpoint. Then again, I will join the midpoint with my bottom seam edge, and then again I'll create a half point here, and then again I'll join my midpoint to the top of my seam marking and create another half point here. So basically what we have done right here is we have created 4 equal sections, and these little points that I've marked are the points where I will connect my tie up. So one will go here, one will go here, one will go here, and one will be right at the top, right here. So this is how to figure out where we want our ties to be. So before I do that, I first want to replicate these markings on the opposite side, so match the seams, and then just on the opposite borders extend these lines. This is the marking for the tie up. So number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4, and then I have created these markings on both the bodices. Now this is where I'll start joining and pinning my tie ups. So right here in the middle. On this point on top, you know, this on this point, this is the top edge of our neckline. You can see where I've created the seam markings. Our necktie will go under our neck lining or neck finishing. So this is the seam marking that I've created. This is the seam marking. Let me create the seam marking here as well. Hopefully this doesn't look too confusing on camera. And our neck tie will align parallelly like this. Underneath our neck finish. For the opposite side as well. This is our marking. So this is the marking. And our tie goes here. The top edge of the tie will be parallel to the marking, will be aligned to the marking on the seam, and then it with neck. So these will be our ties. Next, we have to lay our front finishes on top of our ties. The right side of the strip is on top, and we pin them. Here, neckline goes under. When we start to sew, we first have to stitch these front finishes. Like I've done here, I stitched one already. We don't sew it all the way, so the neckline is still open. We haven't finished that yet. We first finish the front opening, then we turn the opening inside, then we fold it, sew it from inside, and then we sew the neckline on it. So let's do that. Let's first finish sewing the front finish. This is done. Let me cut the excess fabric here. And I'm going to go ahead and iron this flat and folded it inside like so. The front finish has been ironed and folded inside like this, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch along this line. The front finish is done and I'm super happy with it. I think it looks really cute when we have these little ties and we wear them. I think it's going to look really cute. Yes. Now it's time to finish the neckline. For the neckline, I'm going to sew along this, and then we're going to fold it in like this. So let's do that. So I'm back from sewing this fabric. I've attached it to the neckline. However, before we turn this inside, what we need to do is we need to clip some of the fabric or create notches on these curves so that it folds nicely. I just like to create these notches like this. If you want, you could also clip some fabric out. So I'm just making these little V's. Make sure you go too close to the stitches. Just taking my scissors. And then we turn this inside, and we turn this inside and iron it. Now the neck finishing, the bias tape is ironed and pinned. It's time to go ahead and sew it in for the final finish.
This is what it looks like. I am pretty happy with how this has turned out. I think it's really cute. I think the tags are cute as well. I wanted to try this on once before I went ahead and cut my sleeves and attached them, just in case and if the vest needed any alterations, but that is not the case. I think I'm pretty happy with how this has turned out. It's a little loose, but this is what I wanted because of how hot the Bombay summers are. The next step, I'm going to go ahead and join the bottom panel, which is right here. So there will be, I'll create some gathering for it, like this, and then attach it to the bottom.
To create gathering for the bottom panel, what we have to do is create a basting stitch on the top of the panel and create the gathering by pulling on the lower thread of the stitching. Next step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and join these two on the sides to make like one round small cute little skirt which will attach to the top bodice. My skirt is ready. Before we go ahead and attach the skirt to the top half of my bodice, what we have to do is we have to mark the middle points. So I will just fold this into half, and the middle point is right here, and the middle point for my other panel is right here. It's okay if you're not too perfect. I already had a middle point marked here. This was the wrong measurement, but I already had a middle point marked here. It's okay if you're not extremely precise here because we just have the gathering, but be as precise as you can. And then we go ahead and match these middle points of our bottom skirt to the middle points of our top bodice. So this is my top bodice. The middle point, of course, is this joint here. and I have marked another middle point right here. We have to match with the right sides together. The top bodice goes inside nicely, and we match 4 points. We match the seams, we match the side seams. I'll go ahead and pin my rest of the fabric together and connect these two pieces together, and go ahead and I will stitch along the middle line. So here it is, the bottom panel, the bottom skirt is connected to the top right here, and I also went ahead and finished the bottom hem. The last step to finish this top is to draft and attach the sleeves. Now it's time for me to cut my sleeves, and the pattern that I have used is attached right here. It should be visible on the screen. I have my two sleeves ready here. They are stitched from the sides. The next step is we are going to add elastic to the sleeves. For the elastic, I measured the elastic around my arm, and I am going to use two pieces of 22 centimeters each. So 22 centimeters is from here, 22 centimeters is right here, and then I leave around 1 centimeter to 1.5 centimeters room. Let me create a marking here at 22 centimeters. So this is from here. The marking will be at 22 centimeters here, and I've left 1 centimeter space on each sides. To sew my elastic together like this here. So I need two pieces of 22 centimeters. Just one, and the second one is right here. Make another mark. And then make another mark. For my sleeve, I'll turn my sleeve inside out, and I'll fold the hem and sew along the hem. However, I will not sew it all the way. I'll leave a little bit of opening here in the hem so I can squeeze my elastic in with the safety pin. The two ends of the elastic are now sewn together, and I'll push the elastic in and finish the hem. So elastic's in the casing. I'll finish the hem here by finishing with the stitch. Both my sleeves are ready, and the last and the final step is to connect and sew the sleeves to my top. Sleeves are done and my top is ready. So this is how it finally turned out. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you.